Pranam, Bhav Yatra of Shatrunjay Tirth. An awe-inspiring soul gets the perception and opportunity to worship at Mount Shatrunjay due to accumulated punya from several previous births. Those who live in foreign countries or are ill and bedridden are unable to do the yatra in spite of their wish to do so. To fulfill this wish, Rushabh Creation has produced this DVD with full explanations of the yatra. It has concentrated on the history of the small temples that come across during the climb, 5 special spots where Chaityavandan is performed, Nautung, etc. It is our sincere wish that in reality you will do the yatra of Mount Shatrunjay at the earliest. Thank you and Jai Jinendra. Shatrunjay Tirthadipati Shri Adinathaya Namaha. Obeisance to Shri Adinath, Lord of the place of pilgrimage on Shatrunjay Hills. Pranam. The sacredness, the holiness, the divinity, the glory, and the significance of Shatrunjay Tirth, place of pilgrimage, is just boundless. The duration of this DVD is 70 minutes, but even in 700 minutes, it is just impossible to describe and share the wealth of information about this great pilgrimage place. In Trikal, that is, the 3 time zones, as well as in Trilok, or in triple world locations as seen by omniscience, there has neither been a tirth like this before, nor will there be one in the future. The soul of a yatrik, a pilgrim, who goes on a yatra, a pilgrimage, of this tirth is called a divine soul. That is, he will attain moksha, that is, separation of soul from the cycle of rebirth in his nearest future. But how do we actually perform this pilgrimage? The presence of different temples, nautungs, which are enclosures of a group of 9 temples, and many dairies, which are altars for small shrines at frequent intervals, while climbing can confuse a pilgrim due to lack of proper knowledge. By gathering complete rituals with utmost auspicious and holy feeling, this DVD has been created with the main intention of how a pilgrim should perform the pilgrimage. The DVD comprises of a complete knowledge about the importance of Tadeti. At the foot of this holy hill, 5 places of Chaityavandan, a worship ritual, nautungs, immortalization of the saints and their places, history of Hinglaj Mata, who is considered to be presiding deity of the hills, and more. Our aim is to create a holy feeling in the hearts and minds of people in order to have a divine vision of Sri Shatrunjay Giriraj, which is the mountain. We wish to facilitate the elders who, in spite of their holy feeling, but due to unavoidable circumstances, are unable to perform this pilgrimage. With help of modern technology as a medium, we also wish to reach those people who live abroad. Sincere efforts have been made to create a mental picture of performing this pilgrimage with volition, so that the people can have not only a glimpse but a full view of the Giriraj, shedding their karmas and purifying their souls. During the pilgrimage, we should take care so as not to commit any adverse karmas. Women should avoid watching the DVD during their menstrual cycle. Now, let us all embark together on this mental pilgrimage of Sri Shatrunjay Tirth. Pranam. In this world of wide and varied religions, each and every religion has made some place or the other holy and sacred. Devotees go on a holy pilgrimage to these places with a strong belief and utmost satisfaction that their lives are blessed to be successful. Ganga Ghat and Char Dham Yatra among Hindus, Mecca, Medina and Hajj Yatra among Muslims, Jerusalem for Christians and the Golden Temple in Amritsar for the Sikhs are well known. In Jain religion, there are many such places which, because they are ancient or due to them being Tirthankar Kalyanak Bhumi, where auspicious events in the lives of Tirthankars take place. These places are called Tirths. But Shatrunjay Tirth of Palitana city itself is a special Tirth due to the effect and influence of its own Kshetra, which is the area of emancipation. Any other place of pilgrimage in its order of time is perishable, but Sri Shatrunjay Tirth is a Shaswat Tirth, which is an eternal Tirth. Tirthankar Paramatma Sri Simandhar Swami has also praised this holy Tirth in his sermon. While entering this Tirth, a soul gets enlightened and thoughts become very simple. Devotees get emotional and try to stop feelings of animosity and vengeance. Their hearts become grateful to the grace of God. This happens purely due to the holy effect of Sri Shatrunjay Tirth. The principal aim of today's Bhavyatra, that is, pilgrimage with a holy feeling, is to progress towards ending our cycle of rebirths. Keval Gnani Omniscient Sri Aimuta monk has proclaimed in the text of Shatrunjay Laghu Kalp that one who performs Bhavyatra while having observed one fast will gain the virtue of 30 fasts. If one observes Ayambil, he will attain the virtue of 15 fasts. With Ekashana, virtue of 5 fasts. With Porsi, virtue of 3 fasts. And lastly, if a person observes Naukarsi, he will benefit the privilege of 2 fasts. It is believed that if Bhavyatra is performed daily, one shall burn and shed off bunches of karmas attached over uncountable previous births. Thus, to try and end our cycle of rebirths, let us begin the Bhavyatra from Jai Taleti at the foot of this holy hill. The entire mountain is holy and pious for us to worship with utmost satisfaction, but it is impossible to worship the whole Giriraj. It becomes difficult to preserve its sanctity. So, for puja, that is worship ritual, few parts of the Giriraj are kept aside for worshipping. Shila, that is stone, has been placed for this purpose. This is Jai Taleti at the foot of the holy hills. Every day, Ashtaprakari Puja, which is the eightfold Jina worship ritual, is performed along with songs of praise about Shatrunjay hills. The first and foremost Chaityavandan, which is a worship ritual by scriptural words, is performed here and the pilgrimage commences. Let us touch our head in great reverence at Jaitaleti to perform our first Chaityavandan and proceed further.
પ્રભુજીનું મુખડું મલકે, નયણો માથે વરસે અમિરસ ધારા. આદિનાથને વંદન અમારા. પ્રભુજીનું મુખડું છે મન કો મિલા કર, દિલ મેં ભક્તિ કી જ્યોત જગા કર.
ભજીએ પ્રભુને ભાવે, દુર્ગતિ કદી ના આવે, જીનજી પ્યારા. આદિનાથને વંદન અમારા. સિદ્ધાચયના વાસી, વિમલાચયના વાસી, જીનજી પ્યારા. આદિનાથને વંદન અમારા.
પ્રભુજીનું મુખડું મલકે, નયણો માથે વરસે અમિરસ ધારા. આદિનાથને વંદન અમારા. આદિનાથને વંદન અમારા. આદિનાથને વંદન અમારા.
The little dairy on the right of Tadeti is rendered sacred by the charans that are the sacred footprints of Pundarik Swami, who was the first Gandhar, principal disciple of Lord Adinath. Let us bow in reverence here, saying Namo Siddhanam. Here we can see the Charan Padukas of the second Tirthankar, Sri Ajitnath. Let us bow and say Namo Jinanam and proceed further. On our right, we see the charans of Sri Gautam Swami. Gautam Swami had come to the Giriraj to observe tapasya, that is, penance. Let us bow down, saying Namo Siddhanam, and proceed further. Now we approach the charans of our 16th Tirthankar, Sri Shantinath. Sri Shantinath Bhagwan, along with 1,052,055,777 munis, that is, monks, had stayed here for Chaturmas, that is, the monsoon period, and had attained liberation. The dairy on the right is of Saraswati Devi, the goddess of knowledge. Here, in the three dairies, we see the charans of Sri Dharmanath, Sri Neminath, and Sri Kuntunath. Sri Dharmanath and Sri Kuntunath had recited discourses at this very place. This is the temple of Babu, also known as Dhanvasai Tunk. Entering here, we get full view of Sri Mahavir Swami. This is the Ratna Mandir, which belongs to the temple of Babu. The principal idol in this temple is of Sri Adinath. Now we behold the scene of Samavasaran Mandir. Down here is a round-shaped hole, the Rang Mandap, where there are idols of 24 Tirthankars and 108 idols of Sri Parshvanath. This is the first place to rest during the pilgrimage. Here are the charans of Sri Bharat Chakravarti, son of Lord Adinath. In this Ausarpini phase, which is regressive time cycle, the first work of Jirnodhar or restoration was accomplished by Sri Bharat Chakravarti. The reservoir we see here is called Ichha Kund. Ichha Seth had got it built in approximately 1861. The three pairs of charans we see here are of Sri Neminath, Vardatta Gandhar and Sri Adinath. Lili Parab is well known and the third resting point. Just across from the Lili Parab are charans of Lord Adinath. Here we see the reservoir called Kumar Kund. This reservoir had been erected when Kumarpal Maharaja visited here with the Charipalit Sangh. This is Sri Hinglaj Devi Mandir. In ancient times, a demon called Hingul had lived here and was frightening and killing pilgrims. Goddess Ambika Devi, the female deity, protector of the whole Shaurashtra, had fought a furious battle against Hingul and achieved victory and goodwill. The beaten demon fell at her feet, begging her to keep his name. The kind-hearted goddess forgave him and granted his wish. Since then, Ambika Devi was renamed locally as Hinglaj Devi and is worshipped here in this name. Let us bow, saying Jai Jinendra. Now we behold the holy site of the charans of Bhagwan Kalikund Parshvanath. Once, Bhagwan Parshvanath had stood deep in Kayotsarg, that is, meditation in the jungles of Kadamgiri. A magnificent, big-tusked elephant had emerged from the thorny bushes. He looked at the Lord without blinking his eyes and had been filled with devotion. He brought water in his trunk, performing Abhishek like a shower, and placed flowers at the Lord's reverent feet. The elephant had attained eternal peace and went to heaven. Hence, this place was named Kalikund Tirth. Right in front of us here, we see charans installed in 1870 of the idols of 4 immortal Jineshwars, Rishabhnan, Chandranan, Varishen and Vardhaman. This is the temple of goddess Padmavati Devi, the Adhistayak Devi, that is the deity protector of Bhagwan Parshvanath. Let us bow, saying Jai Jinendra, and proceed further. Here we see a little dairy with 4 statues of Dravid and Varikil, 2 of Rishabdev's grandsons, and Aimutta Muni and Naradji. On Kartiki Poonam in October-November month, they, along with 10 billion monks, had attained salvation here. The 3rd statue is of Aimutta Muni, brother of Kansar. He was the author of the book Sri Shatrunjay Laghukalp and had attained omniscience here. The 4th statue is of Naradji, who had observed Anshan Tyag, that is, lifelong fast without any food and water. He, with 91 million monks, had attained omniscience and emancipation. Let us see this dairy of 5 standing black idols of Sri Ram, Bharat, Tavachaputra, Shuk Parivrajak or Shuk Acharya and Shalaksuri Acharya. The first two idols are of Sri Ram and Bharat. They, with 3 billion monks, had observed Anshantyag and had attained eternal bliss of liberation. Let us bow here, saying Namo Siddhanam. The third idol is of Tavachaputra, who, with 1,000 saints in Anshan, had attained salvation here. The fourth idol is of Shukacharya, who, along with 1,000 saints, had attained final emancipation. The fifth idol is of Shalaksuri, who had also reached final emancipation here. The shade under this tree, which is our sixth resting place, is known by Hanumandhara or alternatively Hanumandwar. Here there are two roads, one leading to the Darbar, which is the assembly chamber of Bhagwan Adinath, and the other towards Nautunk, which is the group of 9 temples. On this mountainous path, we see 3 idols cut from a rock. They are of Jali, Mayali, and Uvayali, sons of Lord Krishna, standing in deep meditation. They had accepted Diksha, that is, monkhood, from Bhagwan Neminath and had attained liberation whilst observing Anashan. We have now arrived at Rampol, also known as the gateway of Shatrunjay. Ramji was a sevak, a follower of Motisha Seth. This gateway has thus been named after Ramji as Rampol. Here we see some people selling curd. But be alarmed and refrain from buying the curd. The hills of Sri Shatrunjay Giriraj, right from the first step, are considered to be holy and sacred, just as much as the Jinalai, which is the temple on the top. By eating during the pilgrimage on this holy hill, we commit adversely very tight bound karmas that can neither be shed nor regressed. Hence, the pilgrimage would prove unsuccessful. Our aim of performing the pilgrimage of this holy hill is to shed the sins that we have committed elsewhere. But where shall we go to cleanse the karmas committed on this very hill? Right in front of us here, we see the temple with 5 shikhars, which are the tops of the temple of Sri Vimalnath, the 13th Tirthankar. This is the only temple like this on this holy hill. Next, we see the temple of Bhagwan Sumtinath, our 5th Tirthankar. This is the entrance to the tomb of Moti Shah Seth, also known as Moti Vasai. The temple we see now is of Bhagwan Shantinath, our 16th Tirthankar. The first Chaityavandan, that is the worship ritual with scriptural words and singing of stavans in praise of the Lord, had been performed at Jai Tareti. The second Chaityavandan is performed here at Shantinath Bhagwan's Derasar. Now, let us get engrossed in the Chaityavandan of Sri Shantinath Ji.
शांति जिनेश्वर सोड़मा जग शांति करना शांत भावे जे भक्ति करे तरत तरे भव पार शांति जिनेश्वर साचो साहिब शांति करण ही न कहीं में हो जिन जी तू मेरा मन में तू मेरा
We are now entering the gateway of virtue and sin, commonly known as Punya Pap window. Here, one needs to pass through the camel's legs with extremely little space to move. It is said that one who can pass through has good virtues in him. Approximately 800 years ago, Seth Pratap Das of Patan had taken an oath to perform this pilgrimage of Shatrunjay on a camel. This was to be performed on the 13th, 14th and 15th of every Kartik Shukla, which typically overlaps in October-November, but should be after Chomasi Pratikraman. This is a ritual performed during the monsoon period of 4 months from June-July to October-November in India. At one time, the camel with the rider and Seth Pratap Das were very exhausted, and on reaching Tadeti, they all swooned and fell down so hard that they died immediately. In memory of this great devotee, his statue was installed here. This here is Suraj Kund. Indra from Surya Dev Lok, a part of the 3 worlds belonging to gods and goddesses, had come here himself for a full vision of Bhagwan Adinath. Suraj Kund had been created at this place in his memory. Now we enter this gate, the Hathi Pole. 2 elephants made of stone have been placed here on either side of the gate. This place sings gloriously in praise of the courageous Vikramshi. He had killed the lioness who used to harass the pilgrims. Both died during the fierce fight. On entering Hathipol, we experience the commotion of the flower sellers who try to attract customers. Through Hathipol, we enter the door which is Ratanpol. It extends directly to and reaches the Darbar, which is the assembly chamber of Bhagwan Adinath. Finally, I have arrived at Dada Adinath's Darbar. While performing worship of Dada Adeshwar, let us bow saying Namo Jinanam, and from our left offer the first pradakshina, which is a ritual walk round the side passages. During our first pradakshina, we pass 1024 Jina idols of Sahasrakut, which is idols from all the Chovisis, a Chovisi being made of 24 Tirthankars. Let us say Namo Jinanam. Let us now bow with great reverence at the feet of 1452 Gandhars, the first mendicant disciples of Tirthankars, saying Namo Jinanam at the temple of Sri Simandar Swami. During our second pradakshina, let us bow at the new temple of Bhagwan Adeshwar. The 15th Jirnodhar, which is the program of renovation of Sri Shatrunjay Tirth, was done by Samrasha Oswal and his wife of Patan. On continuing darshan at many dairies, we arrive at Samet Shikhar Tirth. Let us bow and say Namo Jinanam. We now perform our third pradakshina and say Namo Jinanam at the temple called Panch Bhai Ka Mandir, created by 5 brothers. This is the holy Rayan tree. It is said that the Samavsaran, that is, the religious assembly of Bhagwan Rishabdev, was constructed and installed under this tree. It is believed that every branch and every stem and every leaf of this tree is the abode of numerous celestial beings. The third Chaityavandan is performed here.
निउडी रायण तग
is the temple of Pundarik Swami. Sri Pundarik Swami was the grandson and the first Gandhar of Sri Rishabdev. On Chaitri Poonam, 15th day of bright half of the Gujarati month of Chaitra, that is in March or April, Pundarik Swami, along with 50 million monks, observed Anushan and had attained omniscience. Here we perform the fourth Chaityavandan.
एक दिन पुंडरीक गणधरू रेला, पूछे श्री आदि जीनंद जयकारी रे। एक दिन पुंडरीक गणधरू रेला, पूछे श्री आदि जीनंद जयकारी रे। कहिए ते भव जय उतरी रेला, पामीश परमानंद भववारी रे। एक दिन पुंडरीक गणधरू रेला, कहे जीन ईणगिरी पामशो रेला, ज्ञान अने निर्वाण जयकारी रे। तीरथ महिमा वाधशे रेला, अधिक अधिक मंडाण निर्धारी रे। एक दिन पुंडरीक गणधरू रेला, पूछे श्री आदि जीनंद जयकारी रे। एक दिन पुंडरीक गणधरू रेला, पूछे श्री आदि जीनंद जयकारी रे। एक दिन पुंडरीक गणधरू रेला, 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 एक दिन पुंडरीक गणधरू रेला।
At last, this is the chamber of Bhagwan Adinath, the sanctum sanctorium of the whole Tirth. Here we perform the fifth Chaityavandan.
दूर दूर थी तारा दरबारे આવ્યું, दूर दूर थी तारा दरबारे આવ્યું। આદિનાથ દાદા હું તો તારે દ્વારે આવ્યું, આદિનાથ દાદા હું તો તારે દ્વારે આવ્યું। દર્શન કરવાને હું તો પાલિતાણા આવ્યો, દર્શન કરવાને હું તો પાલિતાણા આવ્યો।
On completing the holy pilgrimage till the assembly chamber of Lord Adinath, let us now continue from Hanumandhara towards the pilgrimage of Nautung. After the tomb of Angarsha, the Muslim saint, the first tunk is of Khartar Vasahi tunk, also called Chomukchi's tunk. Second, Narshi Kesharji, with 4 huge idols of Lord Adinath facing the 4 sides. The third is Sakar Vasahi tunk, Ujamphai's tunk is the fourth one. Fifth is Himabhai's tunk. Sixth is Premabai's tunk. 7th is Balabhai's Tunk. 8th is Moti Shah's Tunk. Nav Tunk means a group of all different derasars. And yes, we can again see the biggest Tunk or derasar of Sri Adeshwar Bhagwan. Finishing the yatra of Nav Tunks, let us now continue with the pilgrimage of Getipag, Eve's feet. It was from here that Adeshwar Bhagwan had climbed for 99 Purva times up to the shrine at the top of the Giriraj, each Purva being 84,000 squared years. In the year 1913, a renovation program was undertaken on a large scale in Shatrunjai, and Getipag had been created during this time. Pilgrims who performed the yatra 99 times recommence the yatra for the second time from here. Pilgrims who observe Chhat Tap, that is, fasting without food for 2 days, also start the yatra from here. Churgaon Yatra, which is 19.2 kilometers, is performed on Phagan Sud Teras, commonly falls in February-March. To perform this yatra, a pilgrim has to come out from Rampol and proceed towards the path on the right. This is the first dairy of Churgaon, where statues of the 6 sons of Devaki have been installed. They had observed Anshan and attained emancipation here. Let us bow and say Namo Siddhanam. These are the footprints of Sri Ajitnath Bhagwan and Sri Shantinath Bhagwan. Nandishan Muni had come here and had composed Ajit Shanti Stavan, a prayer. Let us bow and say Namo Jinanam. This over here is Chillan or Chandan Tadaudi, which is the silver pond. Pilgrims engross themselves deep in meditation over here during their Churgaon Yatra. Here we see the Badwa hill. On Phagan Sud Teras, which is the 13th day of the bright half of Phagan, in February-March, Krishna's sons Shambh and Pratyugna, along with 8.5 billion monks, had attained emancipation. Let us bow to say Namo Siddhanam. This is called the Siddha word, a very old banyan tree. Majority souls had attained final emancipation from under this tree than from anywhere else in the whole of Shatrunjay. Hence, this place at this tree is called Siddhavard.
शेत्रुंजी नदी नाहिनी मुख बांधी मुख कोश देव युगादि पूजिये आणी मन संतोष आणी मन संतोष
On completion of this holy pilgrimage, let us proceed to the food house for pilgrims.